Welcome back to The Deep Dive. Today, we are strapping in for what is rapidly becoming just a critical topic for anyone working in modern organizations: organizational AI governance.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're moving past the sort of hypothetical debates and really into the practical stuff, the documents that define how AI is actually managed.
That's exactly right. And today, think of us as your guides. We're going to walk you through a really essential blueprint for policy development.
Okay?
Our source today is very specific. It's the AI Policy Guide and Template version 1.0 from October 2025. It comes from industry.gov.au NAIC.
NAIC.
That's the National AI Center. So this document carries some serious weight. It's positioned as a baseline for industry best practice.
Got it. So our mission today is essentially to break down the core components of what makes an effective AI policy. We'll go section by section through this template.
Exactly. The goal is that you, the listener, walk away with a really clear blueprint for what ethical, responsible, and importantly effective AI governance looks like in practice.
Think of it like the organizational immune system for managing AI risk, maybe.
That's a good way to put it. And here's the key takeaway before we even dive in deep. This template isn't just admin. It's not just a compliance checklist.
Right.
It's fundamental. It aligns AI use with your organization's core values, its strategic mission, and of course, legal obligations. It's how you turn those, abstract corporate values into actual auditable steps.
Makes sense. It bridges the gap. Okay, so let's start at the beginning then. Why do organizations actually need this policy framework? The source itself is pretty direct, isn't it?
It is. It calls the policy the essential guiding resource for all AI-related activities. It's meant to be that single point of truth within the organization.
And why is having that single document so foundational?
Well, developing and implementing it is really the critical first step towards proper AI governance. It's not just about managing the tech. It's about codifying the organization's actual commitment to using AI responsibly.
Without that documented commitment, you just get chaos.
Pretty much. You risk fragmented decision-making, unpredictable outcomes. And that often leads straight to reputational damage or even legal trouble down the line.
Okay, so it's the internal North Star. But who needs to be looking at it? Who does it apply to?
Good question. The document makes it clear it's a reference point not just for the teams building the AI.
Right, the tech folks.
But for all staff, other stakeholders, and, this is crucial, key external parties.
External parties like who?
Primarily regulators and auditors. When an external audit happens, maybe looking at risk mitigation, privacy compliance, ethical alignment, this policy is the evidence. It shows whether you're managing risk systematically or just, making it up as you go.
It formalizes your approach.
Exactly. It formalizes your risk posture.
And what's interesting is that this template isn't just some academic exercise. It's specifically aligned with the government's guidance for AI adoption. That standardization seems really valuable.
Oh, absolutely. It means organizations aren't starting completely from scratch trying to piece things together from, hundreds of research papers. They start from a known, government-aligned baseline.
Which should speed things up considerably.
Massively. It accelerates the whole governance process.
But standardization doesn't mean one size fits all, does it? The source really emphasizes customization.
Yes, strongly. It lays out 4 specific instructions for adapting the template. And honestly, if you ignore these, the policy is probably going to fail.
Okay, let's break those down. What's the first one?
First, and maybe most important for fitting the culture, you must align the policy statements with your organization's core values and mission.
So if your company values, say, transparency.
Exactly. If you pride yourself on transparent client engagement, then your AI policy needs specific binding statements about how AI systems will be explained to clients. It forces the tech to serve the business's core principles, not the other way around.
That sounds like a potential challenge linking those qualitative values to quantitative AI systems.
It can be, which is why it's so vital. If you don't bridge that gap, the policy just becomes shelfware.
Okay, what's the second instruction? It's about fitting into the existing structure.
Precisely. Defining roles and responsibilities has to match your existing organizational or governance structures. Don't just create a new siloed AI committee if you don't need one.
Right, integrate it.
Yes. If you already have a mature risk committee or a data privacy team, AI accountability needs to slot into those existing functions. Otherwise, you get shadow governance, where the new AI policy gets ignored because people follow the established procedures they already know.
Makes sense. And the third point, something about language.
Yes, language. You have to modify the terminology to align with your internal language.
Seems minor, but I guess it matters for adoption.
It's crucial. If the template uses a term like algorithmic inference engine, but your staff just calls it the customer recommender tool.
You call it the recommender tool in the policy.
Exactly. Using the language people actually use makes the policy feel relevant, less like some external mandate being imposed on them.
Okay, and the final instruction for customization.
Seek feedback. The source is very clear. The policy must be fit for purpose,
Meaning,
meaning you need to get input from a wide range of teams: legal, operations, security, tech, and critically, the people who will actually use the AI outputs or be affected by them.
so it's practical, not just theoretical.
Right. That feedback loop ensures it addresses real-world risks and bottlenecks, not just imagined ones.
Okay, that foundation seems solid. That leads us into the next section, which is purpose. Every policy needs a clear starting point, right?
Absolutely. You have to begin with a high-level statement explaining the organization's strategic goals for even using AI in the first place.
It's a tarot.
It anchors the whole document,
Sets the tone.
and it elevates the policy from just a technical requirement to a strategic directive. It confirms you're not just doing AI because it's trendy.
But because it serves specific objectives.
Exactly. And the template stresses again, customize these goals. And importantly, include versioning details, especially the last updated date.
Because AI moves so fast.
So fast. A policy that's even 6 months old could feel ancient in AI terms.
Okay, let's look at the example text in the template. It outlines 5 specific aims. These feel quite deliberate.
They are. It's a mature sequence. The very first aim is foundational. The policy aims to protect the rights of stakeholders.
Putting people first.
Right out of the gate. It signals that all the other goals operate within that primary commitment. Then the second aim balances this. Support the use of AI to enhance service delivery and achieve our strategic objectives.
So serve the mission, but protect the people. That juxtaposition seems key.
It is. Then the third aim focuses outward, ensuring transparency in our AI practices so we can maintain public confidence.
Trust is everything these days. Opacity breeds suspicion, doesn't it?
Instantly. Transparency isn't just nice to have anymore. It's a strategic advantage. Being able to explain how and where AI is used builds that confidence, especially for when things inevitably go a bit wrong.
Okay, aim number 4 moves into the mechanics. Provide a clear risk framework for identifying, assessing, and managing the risks associated with AI systems.
This is the operational engine room, really. It's where the policy defines how you quantify risk, how you document it, how you mitigate it. It embeds risk management into the whole AI lifecycle, not as an afterthought.
And the 5th aim brings it back internally. Engage and empower our staff.
Yeah, this recognizes AI adoption is a huge change management challenge. You absolutely have to train, involve, and empower the people who develop, manage, and use these systems.
Because if staff feel threatened or unprepared,
The system will likely fail no matter how brilliant the code is.
so if we put these 5 aims together, it really frames the policy as a strategic document, not just bureaucratic overhead.
Exactly. It makes the case that responsible AI is actually linked directly to successful, long-term strategic outcomes. It's not just compliance, it's about defining your future competitive edge.
Okay, now we need to draw some lines. Section 3 is all about scope. You mentioned earlier, host speaker, that this needs to align with the organizational structure. Why is defining that scope, say, departmental versus the whole organization so critical?
Well, it prevents confusion, turf wars, and maybe most importantly, risk gaps, right? If the data science team assumes the AI governance committee is handling a new model's oversight,
But the committee thinks it falls under standard IT policy.
you've got a big problem, a hole where no one is accountable. Defining scope clearly ensures everyone in every system knows exactly where this policy applies.
Right. So let's start with the people. Who does the policy actually cover? The template is pretty comprehensive here.
Yeah, it says all employees, volunteers, contractors, and board members involved in the development, adoption, management, or use of AI systems at our organization.
That's intentionally broad, isn't it? Extremely. It pushes accountability way beyond just the coders. It includes the people buying the AI, the people approving the budget for it, even the external contractors using it to deliver services. Accountability follows the decision-making and the implementation.
Okay, that's the people. What about the technology? What systems fall under this?
Again, it's broad. All AI technologies under the organization's control. And that specifically includes systems developed in-house, ones purchased from vendors, and AI embedded within larger software platforms, including cloud-based systems.
That inclusion of cloud and embedded systems feels really important. You can't just outsource the risk by using a vendor's tool, can you?
Definitely not. If that vendor's AI turns out to be biased and harms your customers or stakeholders, the accountability still rests with your organization for deploying it. You bought it, you deployed it, you own the outcome.
Which brings us to maybe the most crucial definition in this section. What actually counts as an AI system?
Yeah, this is key. The template uses a deliberately simplified definition to help people understand it, avoiding overly academic jargon.
What's the definition?
It says an AI system is any technology that uses data to make inferences and generate outputs such as predictions, recommendations, or decisions with a degree of autonomy.
Degree of autonomy seems like the operative phrase there.
Exactly. And the rationale provided explains why this simplification works. The definition needs to capture technology that introduces those specific AI risks,
Like bias from data, lack of explainability.
or autonomous behavior that goes off the rails. These are risks that traditional IT security policies often aren't equipped to handle. If the system learns and infers, it's likely covered.
Okay, to make this even clearer for internal teams, the template gives specific examples of what's in and what's out. Let's cover those. What's included?
Inclusions are things like machine learning models, generative AI tools like ChatGPT, predictive analytics systems, and chatbots that actually generate their own responses, not just follow a strict script. These all have that degree of autonomy.
And what's explicitly excluded? What doesn't need to go through this whole AI governance process?
Exclusions are the deterministic technologies. Standard spreadsheet formulas like hangem or VLOOP, simple rule-based automations, think basic if-then macros, and traditional business intelligence dashboards that just display data.
The key difference is the lack of inference or learning, right? A macro does exactly what you program it to do. It doesn't learn patterns from data.
Precisely. That clarity is super important operationally. You don't want IT teams wasting weeks filling out complex AI risk assessments for a simple automation script that poses none of those unique AI risks.
Makes sense. But what if someone's unsure? Gray areas are bound to pop up.
The policy provides clear procedural guidance for that uncertainty. If there's any question about whether a specific technology falls under the scope,
Yeah, someone.
yep, the instruction is to consult the AI policy owner. This centralizes the interpretation, prevents different teams making inconsistent calls, and ensures the policy is applied consistently. Okay, so we've established the why with purpose and the who and what with scope. Now we're getting into the real heart of it, the policy statements. Section 4.
Right, these are the non-negotiables. They form the organizational DNA for responsible AI. These 7 core principles have to be clear enough to set expectations, but also flexible enough to work with your existing frameworks.
Like risk management, privacy policies, existing tech governance.
Exactly. They don't operate in a vacuum. This is where the rubber meets the road, so to speak.
All right, let's walk through these 7 principles. They deserve some attention. What's principle 1?
Principle 1, ethical and human-centered use. This is fundamental. It demands that AI aligns with your organization's values, respects human dignity, and crucially, maintains human judgment for ultimate decision-making.
So humans stay in control, ultimately.
Yes, and it explicitly requires adherence to Australia's AI ethics principles, linking it back to that national standard.
The template also includes a specific prohibition here, doesn't it?
It does, and it's important. AI must not be used to deceive or manipulate stakeholders. We're talking about preventing AI being used for things like dark patterns online, exploiting known cognitive biases, or deliberately misleading people. It draws a clear line on trust.
Okay, principle 2.
Principle 2, clear accountability. This is all about ownership. Every single AI system needs an accountable person, someone who understands the system well enough.
And is responsible for its entire life cycle and outcomes.
Exactly. And here's the organizational challenge baked right in. That accountable person must be chosen before the system is adopted.
Not after something goes wrong.
Definitely not. You
Yeah.
can't launch first and figure out who owns the risk later. And if you're using third-party AI systems, the responsibilities across that whole supply chain need to be clearly documented. If the vendor's model introduces bias, who in your organization is responsible for catching and fixing it? That needs to be clear, ideally in the contract and reflected here.
Got it. Principle 3, risk assessment.
Principle 3, risk and impact assessment. This mandates a structured assessment before any use. And the controls you put in place must be proportionate to the level of risk the system poses.
And this isn't just about technical risk, is it?
No, not at all. This principle really emphasizes engaging relevant stakeholders to understand the potential external impacts, paying special attention to vulnerable or marginalized groups.
So you have to actively look for risks related to systemic disadvantage.
Yes. For example, assessing if an AI tool for loan approvals might inadvertently amplify historical biases present in the training data, negatively affecting certain demographics. That needs to be part of the assessment.
Okay, principle 4, quality and security.
Principle 4, quality, reliability, and security. This demands rigorous testing before deployment to make sure the system is dependable and secure. And once it's live,
You have to keep watching it.
continuous monitoring. You need to watch for performance issues, emerging risks like data drift, or even adversarial attacks trying to fool the system.
The template mentions something about documentation here too.
Yes, and it's a critical operational point. The testing acceptance criteria must match the risks you identified, and it all needs to be documented. If you flagged bias as a risk, your acceptance criteria need a specific, measurable test for fairness.
And it connects back to existing policies.
Right. If the AI handles sensitive data, all your existing relevant privacy and security safeguards must apply. It links the AI policy directly back to your data governance rulebook.
Makes sense. Principle 5.
Principle 5, fairness and inclusion. This insists that AI systems must be inclusive and accessible. And critically, they must not result in unfair discrimination against individuals or groups.
This seems directly aimed at the bias problem.
It is. Algorithmic bias amplifying systemic inequalities is a huge failure point for AI. The policy explicitly says AI should reinforce, not undermine, commitments to diversity, inclusion, and accessibility.
And it flags caution for certain use cases.
Yes, it emphasizes exercising caution when AI affects marginalized or vulnerable populations. That's a direct lesson learned from past failures, where automated systems have unfortunately penalized specific groups disproportionately.
Okay, principle 6, transparency and contestability, two related concepts.
Exactly. Transparency means being open about AI use, informing impacted parties where appropriate. Contestability is the mechanism for people to challenge an AI's outcome.
Contestability, being able to challenge the machine, sounds complex operationally.
It can be. It requires a documented appeals process.
Yeah.
It means ensuring a human reviewer can actually access the necessary information to properly reevaluate the AI-assisted decision.
How does the policy support that?
It mandates that all approved AI systems must be recorded in the organization's central AI register. That's part of the transparency piece.
And for contestability.
It requires keeping relevant information about AI-assisted decisions that significantly affect people, like denying someone a loan or a job or setting an insurance premium. That information needs to be available upon request. That documentation is the foundation of contestability.
Okay, last one. Principle 7.
Principle 7, human oversight and control. This brings it back to keeping humans in the loop. Oversight must be maintained, and, importantly, the level of oversight needs to increase as the potential impact of the AI's decisions gets higher.
But with potentially thousands of AI decisions happening, how realistic is human oversight for everything?
That's a fair challenge. The template tries to address this scale issue pragmatically. It makes the human user responsible for overseeing the output quality in their area. It doesn't mean a human checks every single output.
But the user needs to be trained to spot problems.
Exactly. Trained to spot failure, drift, poor quality output, anomalies. And critically, the ability to pause, override, or even shut down AI systems when necessary must exist and be readily accessible. That's your safety net, your circuit breaker.
Like an emergency stop button?
Pretty much. And one more crucial point under this principle. For critical services relying on AI, you must maintain documented manual alternatives as a failsafe.
A backup plan.
A documented, tested backup plan. Maintaining manual fallbacks can be costly, yes, but the policy deems it non-negotiable if the AI supports a critical service where failure is unacceptable. The risk outweighs the cost.
All right, we've got the 7 principles. They're the what's. Now, Section V gets into the how. This is governance and compliance, the structure, the roles, the procedures for new AI uses, incident management. This is really the engine that makes the policy work day to day, isn't it?
It absolutely is. This operationalizes everything we've just discussed. And the template notes something important up front. In smaller organizations, one person might wear multiple hats.
But the responsibilities themselves need to be distinct.
Exactly. You still need that separation of duties, even if it's conceptual. The template outlines 6 distinct accountability roles to ensure a good balance of strategy, technical oversight, and independent checking.
Okay, let's break down these roles. Who's first?
At the top, strategically, you have the AI policy owner. This is a designated senior leader They hold ultimate accountability for AI governance, the
Wow.
capabilities, the risks. They champion the policy, sponsor it, maintain it, and make sure adequate training happens. They own the document.
So they're the main sponsor, but who actually signs off on it?
That's the policy approvers. This could be an individual, like the CEO or a committee, maybe the board of directors. They provide the formal approval for the policy and any major revisions. They champion it from the very top and approve significant changes. Ensures executive buy-in.
Okay, sponsor and approver. Then you need someone to check if people are actually following the rules.
Right, that's the compliance monitor. This role often sits with an existing function like internal audit or risk management. Their job is to oversee and verify adherence.
How do they do that?
They audit the required documentation, things like the pre-screening triage forms we'll discuss, the risk assessments. They monitor AI-related incident reports and report back on the overall compliance status. Basically, they keep everyone honest.
Essential function. What's next? A committee.
Yes, the AI Governance Committee or Authority.
Hmm.
This body provides expert consultation. They're the escalation point if there are disputes about the policy or if someone proposes a use case that might be prohibited. Crucially, they review and formally approve any high-risk AI systems before they go live.
So they bring together the different types of expertise needed.
Exactly. Technical, legal, ethical, business process experts, they make the complex risk judgments on the really sensitive stuff.
Okay, moving down to the more hands-on level.
You have the AI system owner. This person is accountable for a specific AI system throughout its entire life cycle. They ensure its compliance with the policy, make sure the risk assessments get done properly for their system, manage its data, and so on.
So accountability tied to a specific application.
Precisely. And finally, the broadest category. All employees and volunteers.
What's their role in governance?
Their responsibility is straightforward but vital. Adhere to the principles laid out in the policy, complete any required AI training, and act as the eyes and ears on the ground. They need to report any AI-related incidents, hazards, or just unexpected behavior they notice through the established channels.
That feedback from users seems crucial for catching problems early.
Absolutely. It's a crowdsourced early warning system.
Okay, roles defined. Now, what about bringing new AI into the organization? Procedures for new AI use cases?
Yes, this is critical for proactive governance. The policy mandates that every proposed AI use case must go through a screening process first
Why screen everything?
to identify and flag those use cases that need more scrutiny-enhanced governance,
Oh.
or, very importantly, those that might pose an unacceptable risk and should potentially be prohibited.
So it's like a triage system.
Exactly. The template calls it a pre-screening triage. It classifies the proposed use case into one of three outcomes: normal, elevated, or prohibited,
And the point of that is?
to make sure the governance effort is proportionate to the potential impact. A simple internal predictive tool might follow the normal track with standard checks. But a system using sensitive data, like biometrics or making high-stakes decisions about people, would automatically trigger elevated governance.
Requiring review by that AI governance committee we mentioned.
Most likely, yes. And prohibited means it doesn't proceed, perhaps because it violates core principles or falls into a predefined category of unacceptable use.
Okay, that makes sense. Finally, in this section, incident management. What happens when things go wrong?
The policy states that breaches must be reported promptly, usually to the system owner and/or the compliance monitor. And importantly, they should be managed using the organization's existing incident response procedures.
Don't reinvent the wheel for AI incidents.
Right. Leverage the processes you already have for IT security incidents or operational issues. This ensures the response is practiced, systematic, and integrated.
And it reinforces that capability we discussed earlier.
Yes, the non-negotiable requirement to be able to take AI systems offline quickly, if needed, coupled with having those documented manual processes ready as a fallback for business continuity. Hashtag VSexU. Policy review and maintenance. Now, given how incredibly fast AI technology evolves, this policy can't just be written and forgotten. It has to be a living document.
So a mandatory review cycle is essential.
Absolutely critical. The source template is very explicit here. The policy should be reviewed at least annually.
Annually. And that review needs formal sign-off.
Yes, followed by formal approval from the policy approvers, the CEO or board, whoever holds that authority. This ensures the document stays current and effective against the changing tech landscape and risk environment.
But is annual review enough on its own? Things can change faster than that.
Good point. The template recognizes this and outlines specific triggers for an ad hoc, immediate review outside that regular annual cycle.
What kind of triggers?
Three main ones. First, a significant AI-related incident. If a system fails badly or causes harm, you need to scrutinize the rules governing it right away.
Makes sense. Learn from failures. What's the second trigger?
The emergence of new, impactful AI technologies. Think about the sudden explosion of powerful large language models recently. That kind of development would instantly trigger a policy review.
To make sure the existing policy adequately covers the new risks and capabilities, like hallucination risks or new data privacy concerns with LLMs.
Exactly. You need to assess if your principles and controls are still sufficient for the new tech.
Okay, and the third trigger?
Changes to relevant laws, regulations, or even significant industry standards. If a regulator introduces new rules on, say, automated decision-making, transparency, or bias mitigation,
The policy has to be updated immediately to reflect that new legal obligation. Compliance demands it.
precisely. So it's annual review plus these event-driven triggers.
And who leads this review process?
The review is led by the AI policy owner, that senior leader sponsor. They do it in consultation with the AI Governance Committee, drawing on their combined strategic and expert knowledge.
And any major changes need reapproval.
Yes, any substantive changes require that formal approval from the policy approvers again. This ensures top-level awareness and buy-in for any shifts in the organization's AI risk posture or governance approach. Hashtag Chasgafen, appendix and supporting resources. Okay, we're nearing the end of the template structure. The final section covers the appendix and supporting resources.
What's the purpose of the appendix itself?
It's designed purely for customization within your organization. It's the place where you'd put things like a glossary defining specific internal terms you use.
Aligning with that customization principle we discussed earlier.
Exactly. And also, updating the list of related internal documents that this AI policy needs to be read alongside. Things like your overarching data privacy policy, your information security framework, maybe specific HR policies if AI is used there.
So it ensures the AI policy integrates smoothly with the rest of the corporate rulebook.
Right. It doesn't exist in isolation. Then, separate from the appendix, which is part of your policy, the template lists specific external Australian government supporting resources.
These aren't part of the formal policy document itself.
Correct. They don't form part of the formal approved policy, but they are crucial context. They provide alignment with national standards and, importantly, the practical tools needed to actually implement the policy effectively.
What kind of tools are listed?
There are several key ones mentioned.
Yeah.
An AI register template, which directly supports Principle 6 on transparency and contestability.
Helps you keep track of all your AI systems.
Exactly. Then there's an AI screening tool that helps operationalize the new use case procedures we talked about in Section V, that triage process.
Okay.
It also references Australia's AI ethics principles, which underpins Principle 1 on ethical use. There's mention of the voluntary AI safety standard, offering more detailed guidance. And finally, a comprehensive glossary of terms and definitions to ensure everyone involved is speaking the same language when discussing AI concepts nationally.
So these external resources are like the user manual for the policy.
That's a great way to think about it. They help translate the high-level policy statements and principles into repeatable, practical, and auditable organizational processes. They make the policy actionable.
Wow, okay. We have really walked through the sheer scale of this governance structure, from that high-level philosophy of purpose right down to specific compliance roles, auditable procedures, and even mandatory review triggers.
That's comprehensive.
It really is. And for anyone listening who needs to establish AI governance or just understand what robust governance looks like, this detailed template seems like a massive strategic shortcut.
It definitely is. And I think the final implication we can draw from this whole template, this whole structure, is it's really mature understanding that AI risk isn't just a tech problem. It's organizational risk. It's systemic.
Right? It permeates everything.
Exactly. And the structure we've just gone through ensures accountability is baked in at every single stage, from screening an initial idea through development and deployment to managing incidents when they happen. And there's that constant focus on ensuring human oversight remains, and particularly on protecting vulnerable groups through those mandated risk assessment processes.
That focus on risk classification, normal, elevated, prohibited, and tailoring controls accordingly, that brings us to our final thought for you, the listener, to maybe explore on your own.
Okay.
Since the document emphasizes linking controls to the level of risk, think about this. How might an organization strategically use that prohibited classification in the new AI use case potential section? Not just for things that are obviously illegal or unethical today.
But maybe to future-proof.
Exactly. Could you proactively designate certain highly sensitive or rapidly evolving areas, maybe things like using facial recognition for employee monitoring or developing fully autonomous decision systems in certain high impact domains as prohibited now?
Even if regulations don't strictly forbid it yet.
Right. By doing that, are you just complying with current best practice, or are you actually anticipating and mitigating the potentially huge costs and risks of unforeseen regulatory changes or societal backlash down the track in those specific high-risk areas?
That's a really interesting strategic question. Using the governance framework not just reactively, but proactively to shape the organization's risk appetite for the future.
Something to ponder as you take this blueprint and start thinking about defining your own organization's AI destiny.
Definitely worth considering. Well, thank you for diving deep with us today on this crucial topic.